I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the brakes of that black SUV failed spectacularly on the rain-slicked interstate outside Chicago. Betrayal hit harder than the impact. My fiancée, Elena, the woman I'd built an empire with, had rigged the whole thing, her lover's hands on the wheel as he floored it toward the guardrail. And just like that, McKinley Hargrove, heir to Hargrove Industries, was roadkill, all because Dad's will left her the keys to the kingdom instead of me. But death's a lousy editor. It cut the scene too soon. When my eyes snapped open, I wasn't staring at the pearly gates or some hellish void. No. I was back in my old king-sized bed in the Gold Coast penthouse. Sheets tangled around me like a bad dream I couldn't shake. The alarm clock blinked 6:47 a.m. July 15th, 2 years before the crash. My heart hammered like a jackhammer on concrete, sweat soaking through my t-shirt. I bolted upright, gasping. And there it was, the faint scar on my left forearm from that stupid dirt bike accident in high school. I'd gotten it lasered off last year. Or future last year. Holy shit. I'd done it. Reborn. Rewound. Whatever you call clawing your way back from the grave. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, splashing cold water on my face. But the reflection staring back was me, 28. Lean from too many gym sessions to drown out the stress. Dark hair tousled. Green eyes wide with a kind of panic that makes you laugh or scream. I chose both. A manic chuckle bubbling up as I gripped the marble sink. Not this time. You bitch, I muttered, the words tasting like revenge already. Elena Vasquez, fiancée, Viper in designer heels, had played me like a mark in one of her shady offshore deals. Dad handed her the company on a silver platter 6 months before the wedding, whispering in his hospital bed that she was the future. Cancer ate him alive. But trust? That was the real killer. By morning after his funeral, she'd frozen me out of the C-suite, citing some bullshit clause about strategic vision. I fought it, poured every dime into lawyers. But she had the board in her pocket, bribed, blackmailed, betted. The crash was her cleanup crew, making sure I couldn't appeal from beyond the grave. Now, I had 2 years. 2 goddamn years to flip the script. I dressed in yesterday's suit, Armani, crisp as my resolve, and headed downstairs. The doorman nodded like nothing had changed, but everything had. Hargrove Industries wasn't just Dad's legacy, it was a beast, $2 billion in renewable energy tech. Solar farms from California to the Carolinas, patents that could green the grid or bankrupt rivals. Elena slithered in as the golden girl, a Harvard MBA with a smile that could sell ice to Eskimos. Me? I was the tinkerer, the guy who coded the algorithms in our garages back when Dad was still sober enough to believe in family. First stop, the office. I Ubered to the Loop, the city waking up in that humid summer haze. Skyscrapers clawing at the sky like they owned it. Our HQ loomed at the corner of Wacker and Michigan, glass and steel. A monument to ambition. I badged in, the scanner beeping like an old friend, and rode the express elevator to the 42nd floor. My office, our office, back then, was a corner suite with views of the Bean reflecting the sunrise. Elena's touch was already there, abstract art on the walls. A scent diffuser pumping out lavender to mask the desperation. I fired up the computer, fingers flying over the keys. Time to audit the ghosts. In my first life, I ignored the red flags, offshore accounts in the Caymans, consulting fees to shell companies that traced back to her ex, Victor Kane. Victor, The shark from Wall Street. The one who drove the SUV. Partners in crime. Literally. I pulled up the financials, cross-referencing with the employee database. There, Elena had been siphoning R&D funds into a side hustle. Some crypto scam disguised as green innovation. $5 million gone. Poof. In the old timeline, it tanked us after my death. Stock plummeted. Buyouts loomed.
But now?
I'd weaponize it. A knock at the door. McKinley? You're in early. It was Sarah, my assistant, loyal. Sharp as a tack. The one who tipped me off too late in the first go-round. Mid-40s. No nonsense, Bob. Coffee in hand like armor.
Yeah.
Rough night, I said, forcing a grin. Pull the last quarter's vendor logs. Everything. She arched a brow but nodded, vanishing down the hall. Good old Sarah. She'd be my first ally. As she left, my phone buzzed. Elena. Morning.
Babe.
Brunch at the Gauge? Miss you already. Heart emoji.
Gag.
I typed back. Sounds perfect. 11? Let her think the hook was still set. Brunch was a minefield. The Gauge. That swanky spot in the Loop with its dark wood and craft cocktails. Was our ritual. She arrived in a sundress that screamed innocent ambition, hair cascading like she stepped off a L'Oreal ad. You look tense, she said, sliding into the booth, her hand on my knee under the table. Lie detector, that touch used to spark. Now it itched like poison ivy. Just dad stuff, I lied back, sipping my Bloody Mary. The board's pushing for that merger with Kane Ventures. Victor's eager. Her eyes flickered, gone in a blink. But I caught it. Victor's a pro. It'll be huge for us.
Us. Right.
I nodded, letting her ramble about synergies while I mentally cataloged her tells, the lip bite when she bullshitted, the way her fingers drummed when plotting. By dessert, some overpriced avocado toast. I'd planted the seed. Hey, what if we loop in my old college buddy? Jax? He's got intel on offshore regs. Could save us headaches. She smiled. All teeth. Smart. Text him. Hook. Line. Sinker. Jax Rivera, ex-Marine. Hacker extraordinaire. The guy who'd owed me since I bailed him out of a bar fight in undergrad. In the first life, I never called. Mistake corrected. Back at the office, I met Jax in a dive bar off Halstead, away from prying eyes. He slid into the booth, tattoos peeking from his sleeves, beer already half gone. Kin? Man, you look like you saw a ghost. Worse, I said, sliding him a thumb drive. I need dirt. Everything on Elena Vasquez and Victor Kane. Financials, emails, skeletons. No limits. He whistled low. This about the ring on her finger or the knife in your back? Both. I clinked my bottle to his. Make it hurt. That night, alone in the penthouse, I paced the living room, Lake Michigan glittering like a promise outside the windows. The betrayal replayed in HD. Dad's funeral. Elena in black Chanel, whispering condolences while pocketing the CEO title. The board meeting where she ousted me, citing my instability after a fabricated affair scandal. The accidental crash. Victor's smug face in the rear view as I spun out. I'd trusted her, loved her, even built her up from intern to empress. And she'd buried me for it. But secrets have a way of rotting. Dad's will wasn't ironclad. There was a codicil, hidden in his safe deposit box, tying her inheritance to performance metrics only I knew about, sustainable yield targets from our first solar project. She'd forged the docs to bury it.
But now?
I'd unearth it. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd have to play dirty, leak rumors, sabotage deals, maybe even frame her for the very embezzlement she was guilty of. Morally gray? Pitch black. But survival's not a debate club. As dawn broke, I poured scotch, neat, like Dad, and toasted the mirror. Round 2. Elena. Let's dance. 2 weeks in, and the rewind felt less like a gift from God and more like a loaded gun with a hair trigger. Every smile from Elena was a landmine. Every board memo, a potential trap. I played the doting fiancé, dinners at RPM steak, weekends in the Hamptons, but inside, I was a storm front rolling in off the lake, dark and unrelenting. Jax delivered the first payload over encrypted email, a dossier thicker than a Tolstoy novel. Elena's trail was a spiderweb of deceit. Born Elena Ruiz in a crumbling tenement in East LA, she'd clawed her way to Stanford on scholarships and spite, then Harvard on charm and forged transcripts. Victor? Her shadow since law school, a fixer for hedge funds, specializing in creative accounting. They'd reconnected at a gala 2 years back, right after Dad's diagnosis. The affair started as pillow talk, evolved into pillow plots. Emails gushed about our empire, attachments detailing how to neutralize the Hargrove liability, me. The buried secret? Dad didn't just hand her the company. He did it because she gaslit him into believing I was the leak in a corporate espionage case. Some rival, Petrotech, had hacked our patents, and Elena planted the breadcrumbs leading to my laptop. Forged IP logs, anonymous tips to the FBI.
Dad.
Doped on morphine, bought at hook, line, sinker. The mistake I suffered? Taking the fall quietly to protect the family name. Swallowing indictments that never came because she swept them under with Victor's connections. It cost me my security clearance, my credibility, and, eventually, my life. I forwarded the choicest bits to Sarah, anonymized through a VPN. Eyes only, I texted. She called within the hour. Voice a whisper from her cubicle. McKinley, this is dynamite. You sure? Surer than sin, I replied. Start whispering. To the right ears. The leaks hit like a summer squall. First, a blind item in Crane's Chicago business, Hargrove exec linked to offshore anomalies. Elena's poker face cracked at our next team meeting. She paced the conference room. Louboutins clicking like gunfire. Blaming market noise. I sat at the foot of the table, feigning concern. But my mind raced ahead. Next, we'd hit her with the affair. Controversial move number 1. I'd seduce her back into complacency. Record the confessions.
Consent?
Blurred lines in war. Ethics? Luxury I couldn't afford. That night, I cooked filet mignon, reduction sauce from a recipe Dad taught me. The penthouse candles flickering like accomplices. Elena arrived tipsy from cocktails with the girls, her laugh a little too bright. Kin, you romantic devil, she purred, nipping at my earlobe as we danced a Coltrane on the turntable. We ended up in bed, her nails raking my back, whispers turning to moans. I flipped on the nanny cam Jax installed, tiny, undetectable, wired to my phone. Tell me your dreams, I murmured post-climax, tracing her hip. She sighed, eyes half-lidded.
Us.
Running it all. No more Hargrove deadweight.
Slip.
Victor gets the merger. We split the payout. Clean slate. I froze. But she was already drifting off. Gold. By morning, the clip was scrubbed, sent to a PI with ties to the Sun-Times. Tabloid fodder. Heiress in steamy scandal? It dropped Friday. Photos blurred but unmistakable. Victor's penthouse. Her Mercedes in the drive.
Panic set in.
Elena stormed my office Monday. Door slamming like Judgment Day. What the fuck? McKinley? You leaked this? I leaned back. Steepled fingers. Me?
Babe.
I'm as shocked as you. Lie smooth as bourbon. Her eyes narrowed. That calculating glint. If you're playing games. Games? I stood, closing the distance. Voice low. This could tank us. Unless we fight back. Together. She searched my face. Then softened. Hook reset. Together, she echoed.
Kissing my cheek.
Viper. The board convened emergency session that week. Tension thick, as fog off the lake. Suits sweating in the AC. Elena presented her defense. Bullshit charts. Spin doctoring the leaks as smears. I waited my turn, then dropped the bomb, the codicil. I'd retrieved it from the bank. Notarized fresh. Dad's metrics, I said, sliding copies across the table. Solar yield at 92% or the shares revert. We're at 89.
Elena.
You signed off on diverting funds. Care to explain? Gasps rippled. Her face drained to ash. Victor, dialing in from New York, sputtered pixelated outrage. But the chairman, old man Whitaker, Dad's golf buddy, nodded slow. This changes things. Vasquez. She recovered like a pro.
Fabrication.
McKinley's grasping. Grasping. I countered. Voice steel. Or grasping truth? I cued the financial trail. Jax's handiwork. Anonymized. Offshore wires.
Dumicor.
The room erupted, calls for audits. SEC filings. Elena adjourned, fleeing to her office, but not before hissing in my ear, "You'll regret this."
Doubt.
A flicker. This was family, or what was left. Dad's ghost loomed in every decision, his faith in her a wound that festered. But revenge isn't clean, it's a meat grinder. I doubled down, greenlighting a hostile audit through a firm Jax recommended. Ruthless?
Check.
Legal?
Barely.
Nights blurred into strategy sessions with Sarah and Jax. Takeout boxes piling like war rations. Sarah confessed over lo mein. She approached me last year. Offered a cut to spy. Betrayal layered on betrayal. I said no. But God. She's ruthless. Ruthless wins short-term, I said, clinking her plastic cup. We play long. The controversy escalated mid-month. Petrotech countersued, claiming we stole from them. Elena's plant, no doubt, timed to muddy waters. Protesters gathered outside HQ, green activists decrying corporate greed, egged on by anonymous tips. I addressed them from the steps, megaphone in hand, promising transparency. Inside, I seethed. Controversial decision, too. I'd leak her transcript forgery to the alumni mag. Harvard didn't take kindly to fraud. Boom. Her golden resume tarnished. Victor's move came swift. A car accident for Jax. Fender bender on the Dan Ryan. He called me from the ER. Bruised ribs. They're coming.
Man.
Watch your six.
I did.
Installed security. Carried pepper spray like a talisman.
Elena noticed.
At our reconciliation dinner. Paranoid much? She teased. But her eyes were daggers. Smart, I shot back. In this business, trust is currency. And you're spending it fast. She laughed, but it rang hollow. As we left, her phone buzzed. Victor. No doubt. I glimpsed the text. Handle the boy.
Now.
Chills. The noose tightened. By month's end, the stock dipped 8%. Analysts howling. Elena clawed back with the presser, poised, penitent, vowing reform. But cracks showed, bored whispers, defections. I courted them one by one, golf with Whitaker, steak with the CFO, promising stability. My stability. Lying in bed that night, Elena asleep beside me, I stared at the ceiling fan whirring like fate's roulette. The betrayal's depth hit anew, not just the company, but the life we'd mocked up. Weddings planned, kids' names whispered. All ash. I'd burn it down to rebuild. But at what cost? The mirror lied now, shadows under my eyes. A hardness in the jaw. Reborn, but not redeemed. Sarah texted at 3 a.m., got something big.
Meet Dawn.
I slipped out, the city asleep, my pulse a war drum. Round 2 was just heating up. Dawn broke bloody over the lake, painting the skyline in reds that screamed warning. Sarah waited in a coffee shop off Michigan Avenue, neutral ground, tourists chattering oblivious around us. She slid a folder across the Formica table, manila stained with urgency. You were right about the espionage. But it's worse. I flipped it open, steam from my black coffee curling like smoke signals. Petrotech wasn't the victim. They were the bait. Elena and Victor orchestrated the hack to frame me, backdoored our servers with malware traced to my VPN. The FBI file, courtesy of Jax's dark web digs, detailed it, logs falsified, my home IP spoofed. Dad's dying declaration? Coerced under duress. Elena at his bedside with a notary in her pocket. The secret buried deepest. She wasn't just after the company. She wanted absolution. Turns out, Elena's father, a Petrotech exec, died in a whistleblower scandal Dad's aggressive buyout triggered 15 years back.
Suicide.
Official. Murder by ambition. Her version. She'd infiltrated us for vendetta. Seduced me as collateral. Jesus. I breathed, the pieces slotting like a nightmare jigsaw. She's a ghost hunter. Sarah nodded, stirring her latte grim. And Victor? He's the muscle. Ixia. Black Ops. That SUV? No brake failure. Remote jammer. Rage boiled. Hot and holy. I'd suffered the crime. Indicted in absentia. My name's synonymous with traitor. But the mistake? Trusting blood over ink. Dad's will was her Trojan horse. Loaded with poison clauses only she activated.
Now.
With the codicil surfacing, she was cornered, lashing out. I burned the folder that afternoon in a park trash bin. Old school. No traces, then hit the streets. Controversial decision 3. Go public with a tell-all. But not mine. I'd ghostwrite it through a journalist pal, framing Elena as the femme fatale. Tabloid justice, vicious, viral. But it'd erode her empire faster than lawsuits. The leak dropped Tuesday. Chicago Tribune splash, Hargrove heiress, revenge or ruin? Anonymous sources, me, via proxies, spilled the affair. The fraud. The frame job. Photos. Elena and Victor at a gala. Arms entwined. Blurred docs hinting at the will forgery. Twitter, X, whatever, ignited. Hargrove betrayal trended. Memes of her as Black Widow. Activists piling on with corporate Viper. Elena's response was a masterclass in denial, a tearful video from her office. Makeup flawless. Voice cracking just right. Slander. I'm fighting for all of us. Views soared. But so did the shorts. Stock cratered another 12%. The board called me in. Whitaker's face like weathered oak.
Son.
This is chess. Not checkers. She's demanding your head. Let her, I said, palms flat on the table. The audit's tomorrow. Truth outs.
It did.
Spectacularly. The firm, Stone and Associates, pit bulls in pinstripes, unveiled the siphon. $12 million rerouted to Victor's Cayman nest egg, laundered through fake green startups. Elena sat stone-faced as they presented, but her knuckles whitened on the armrests. Victor, remote again, disconnected mid-slide, cowered. Post-meeting, she cornered me in the hallway, heels echoing doom. You did this. You slimy. Slime. I whirled. Inches from her. You framed me for treason.
Elena.
Killed my father with lies. Then me with a joyride. This is mercy. Her laugh was ice. Mercy? Your dad's buyout ruined my family. He deserved it. You? Collateral. The confession hung. Electric. I hit record on my phone, subtle. Pocketed. Say that again. For the tape. She froze. Then lunged, nails to my throat. A wildcat in silk. Security peeled her off. But not before bruises bloomed. She spat. War. McKinley. All out.
It was.
That night. My apartment, wait. Our apartment, trashed.
Drawers gutted.
Safe cracked. The codicil copy shredded. Jax called as I surveyed the wreckage. Victor's goons. Traced the plates to a rental under a ghost LLC. Escalate, I growled. Controversial for higher muscle. I wired Jack's funds for a detail. XSLS. Discreet.
No guns.
But tasers and attitude. Paranoia?
Prudence.
The tension coiled tighter. Protests swelled, now a mix. Greens versus shareholders. Chance drowning the loop. Elena countersued me for defamation.
50,000 pesos.
But her lawyer squirmed. The transcript forgery hit Harvard's radar. Degree under review. Victor vanished. Rumors of a bolt to Dubai, but his shadow lingered. A brick through my car window. Note attached. Last warning. Sarah pulled me aside Thursday. Eyes haunted. She's offering me double to flip. Said you'd burn with her. Loyalty's rare, I said, squeezing her shoulder. Don't make me regret mine. Board vote loomed Friday, CEO ouster. Mine or hers? I prepped like a prize fighter. Alliances shored. Metrics fudged just enough to show my fixes boosting yields to 91%. Elena arrived feral. Hairpin tight. Suit armor. The room buzzed. Whitaker presiding. 20 suits on edge. She opened. Venomous. Accusing me of sabotage. McKinley's vendetta endangers us all. My turn. I cued the recording. Her hallway hiss. Crystal.
Gasps.
Then the audit bombshell. projected huge. Wires to Victor. Labeled Hargrove Legacy Fund. Her empire crumbled live. Chaos. Whitaker banged gavel. Motion to remove Vasquez. All in favor. Eyes thundered, 18-2. Her proxies. Outgunned. She stood, chair scraping hell. This isn't over. Stalked out. Victor's empty chair mocking. After. Whitaker clapped my back. Your father's son. Interim CEO. Effective now. Relief?
Pyrrhic.
As champagne popped in the lounge, I slipped away, dialing Jax. Lock it down. She's desperate. He was right. Midnight. Sirens wailed. Fire at a solar farm in Indiana. Our flagship. Arson. Deliberate. No deaths. But $10 mill torched. Headlines screaming sabotage. Elena's alibi? Ironclad. Charity gala. But Victor's jet logged a flight path south. I drove to the site at dawn. Ash still smoldering. First responders milling like ghosts. The foreman, Big Mike, salt of earth, gripped my arm. Kin, this is war. Who's gunning for us? Old sins, I muttered. The betrayal's weight-crushing. Elena's vendetta mirrored mine, cycles of revenge. American as apple pie and lawsuits. But I'd break it. Or die trying again. Back in Chicago. Rain lashed the windows as I plotted Phase 2, federal heat. The recording to the U.S. Attorney. Embezzlement flagged. Controversial? Leaking to feds mid-crisis, screamed opportunist. But justice? Long overdue. Elena texted at noon. We need to talk. The gauge. Truce? Trap or olive branch? I suited up. Heart a tripwire. The game's midpoint, and the board was bloodied. The gauge at noon was a pressure cooker, clinking glasses masking the storm outside. Rain sheeting the windows like tears unshed. Elena sat in our booth. Untouched mimosa sweating condensation. Her face a war zone. Foundation creased. Eyes puffy from nights uncounted. She looked smaller. Human. Dangerous illusion. Truce. I echoed. Sliding in opposite. Voice neutral as Switzerland. She leaned forward. Elbows sharp on the table. Not truce. Truth. You win. McKinley. The board. The leaks, it's yours. But call off the dogs. Victor's spooked, he's out. Out. I sipped water. Ice clinking judgment. After torching my legacy, her flinch was genuine or Oscar-worthy. Not him. Desperate men. I didn't know it'd go there. Lies layered like lacquer. The recording burned in my pocket. Feds had it by now. Wheels turning slow but inexorable. Truth, I pressed. Your dad's death. Dad's buyout. Was it all payback? Silence stretched, thick as the bisque steaming past. Then, yes. Whisper, but seismic. Raul Ruiz, my father, exposed Petroteca's bribes. Your dad crushed him. Foreclosure. Disgrace. Bullet to the head.
Brûlé suicide.
I was 16, watching Mom shatter. Infiltrated Hargrove to burn it down. You? I loved you.
Kin. Once.
Then. Necessity.
Love.
The word twisted like a shiv. In the first life, I'd have melted, forgiven, rebuilt.
Now?
It fueled the fire. Necessity got me killed. Twice. Her eyes widened, shock real. Twice? What? Never mind.
Slip.
I waved it off, but the hook caught. Paranoia flickered in her gaze. Time to reel. We talked circles, concessions, NDAs. Her resignation letter drafted on the spot. I played magnanimous, signing off on a golden parachute minus the gold, $2 mill severance.
Non compet till helfrosa.
She bought it, signing with a hand that trembled just so. As she left, umbrella blooming black, I texted Jax, tail her. Full spectrum. He confirmed an hour later, straight to O'Hare. Private charter to Miami, Victor's bolt hole. Feds tipped, or my shadows. The line blurred. Back at HQ. The interim crown weighed heavy. Emails flooded, congrats laced with caution. Sarah hugged me in the lobby. You did it. Clean. Clean? I snorted, but pulled her into the office. One more play. The twist. We huddled over blueprints, not solar, but code. Jax's masterstroke, a worm in our servers. Dormant till now. Triggered remotely. It'd expose every transaction Elena touched, backdated. Irrefutable. Controversial 5. Deploy it during her exit presser. Live streamed. Public execution. Career immolated. Humane?
No.
Final?
Yes.
The presser was Friday. Media circus in the atrium. Elena at the podium, poised in pearls, script in hand, proud of my tenure. Stepping aside for new vision. McKinley Hargrove, visionary leader. Cameras flashed. I stood sidelight, nodding like a saint. Her wrap-up. Hargrove indoors. Cue applause. My thumb hovered on the app.
Press.
The worm woke, projectors hijacked, screens blooming with data dumps, wire transfers, affair voicemails, the SUV's black box ping, Jax's hack, pre-crash. Gasps swelled to roar.
Elena Spoon.
Face crumbling live. What? Stop this. Too late. Feeds went viral, CNN pickup. Stock surging on the purge. Victor's face popped in a grainy email chain. Neutralize Hargrove Air. $5 million wired.
Hello.
Unmasked. Security swarmed as she bolted. But not before Mike caught her sob. You bastard. McKinley. I stepped up. Calm as lake glass. Transparency. For the future Dad envisioned. Cheers drowned her exit. Aftermath. Cathartic chaos. Feds raided her condo that night. Arrest warrant for fraud. Conspiracy. Victor? Apprehended at an airstrip. Duffel of cash. The board ratified me permanent CEO by sunset. Stock up 15%. Protesters dispersed. Some even chanting my name. But victory soured quick. Sarah found me in Dad's old office. Whiskey decanter half empty. Windows fogged. You okay? Nope. Truth serum. I loved her.
Once.
This. It's hollow. She sat. Hand on mine. Revenge is. But justice? That's the rebuild. Jax called. Clean sweep.
Boss.
Servers sanitize. I hung up. Staring at Dad's photo, smiling. Pre-cancer. The betrayal's core. Not just Elena. But my blindness. I'd ignored her distance. The late nights.
Chalk to stress. Mista Kemine. 2.
Sunday. I drove to the cemetery, Lincoln Park. Graves manicured green. Dad's stone, builder of tomorrows. Elena's father beside, unmarked but etched in her age. I knelt, rain from days prior mudding my knees. Sorry, old man. For not seeing. Phone buzzed unknown. You think it's over? Watch your back. No number. Victor? Or her ghost? Monday merger talks with Kane Ventures collapsed. Ironic. Their house of cards tumbling. I greenlit expansions. Community solar in underserved hoods. Scholarships in Raul Ruiz's name. Redemption arc? Maybe. But tension lingered. A low hum. Elena's trial loomed, federal. Airtight. I testified prep with prosecutors. Her eyes meeting mine across the room during a prelim hearing. Not hate, but hollow. Why? She mouthed. I didn't answer. Words failed where action screamed. Nights. The rewind haunted. Crashed dreams. Blood phantom. Therapy? Considered.
Dismissed.
Reborn men don't unpack. They armor. Sarah became confidant. Dinners platonic but charged.
Jax.
The brother I never had. Scouting threats. The company thrived. Yields hit 95%. Patents renewed. But whispers. Insider sabotage. Anomalous dips. Paranoia or pattern. Climax brewed that fall. Gala at the Art Institute. Black tie triumph. Elena out on bail. Sentence pending. Invite. My olive branch. Twisted. She came. Stunning in red.
Victoresse absence avoid.
We danced. Waltz stiff. Eyes locked. Truce for real? She murmured. Peace. I lied. As string swelled, my phone vibrated. Jax. Bomb threat. Evac now. A chaos erupted. Sprinklers. Screams. In the crush, Elena gripped my arm. Not me. Him.
Victor.
The twist uncoiled. He'd played her. Too, using the vendetta for his coup. Framing her deeper. The bomb? Diversion for a server heist. Stealing our core IP. We evacuated to the lawn. Sirens wailing. Fed swarmed. Victor cornered in the basement. Hard drive in hand. Elena collapsed against me.
Sobbing.
I was blind. Irony's bite. Join the club. As cuffs clicked on him. She whispered. Forgive. Controversial 6, maybe. But revenge? Sated.
Scarred.
Winter clamped Chicago like a vice. Snowdrifts burying sins under whitewash. Victor's trial was a spectacle. Federal court downtown. Headlines devouring his empire. Manslaughter 1. Conspiracy. Wire fraud. The SUV's jammer traced to his garage. Elena's complicity reduced to accessory via plea. She flipped for leniency. 6 months house arrest. 5 years probation. Disgorgement of ill-gotten gains.
Me?
Star witness. Cross-exam grilling her tears into admissions. I thought it justice, she choked on the stand. Till it wasn't. The jury bought remorse, I didn't. But closure? Close enough. Hargrove Industries? Reborn fiercer. I steered us into battery tech. Partnerships with Tesla knockoffs. Stock doubling by spring. Board adored the prodigal. Bonuses flowed. My penthouse upgraded to a lakeside estate in Winnetka. Sarah? Promoted to COO. Her corner office adjacent mine. Jax? Head of security.
Tattoos under suits now.
Family. Forged in fire. But the rewind's echo persisted. Nights I'd jolt awake. Tires screeching phantom. Blood acrid. Therapy finally. Under NDA, Dr. Ellis. No bullshit shrink from Northwestern. Revenge cycles, she said. Glasses perched. You broke yours. Now live. Living meant decisions. Elena's release party, low-key. Her mom's brownstone in Pilsen. I went. Uninvited but unchallenged. She opened the door in jeans. Hair loose. Older in the eyes. Kin. Talk. We walked the alley. Snow-crunching confessions. Victor groomed you. The frame. The crash, his blueprint. She nodded. Breath fogging. Paid my tuition. Whispered Dad's truth. I was clay.
Pause.
Love you still? Ruined it. Ruined us. Honesty raw. Controversial endgame. Offer grace. Therapy. Community service. Rebuild quiet. She searched my face. Then hugged brief. Breaking. Too late for us. But thanks. We parted allies. Not lovers. Her startup launched months later. Nonprofit green consulting. Raoul's legacy redeemed. I invested anonymously. Metrics monitored. Forgiveness? Not yet.
But space.
The twist hit Easter. Board retreat in Aspen. Chalets and deals.
Whitaker Pulme Azid-Postski.
Fire crackling.
Son.
The codicil? Not just metrics. Handed an envelope. Sealed with Dad's crest. Inside, letter. Turn. Dated his last lucid day. McKinley, if you're reading this. Elena's faltered. The company's yours. Always was. But test her. Blood or chosen. You decide. Love. The builder. Gaslight or genius. Dad suspected. Staged the handover, a crucible. My suffering? His forge. The mistake. Underestimating patriarchs. Rage flared, betrayed by the grave. But wisdom followed. Cycles break when seen. I burned the letter in the hearth. Ashes to wind. Your move won. Old man. Back in Chicago. Spring thawed the tension. Gala redux, no threats. Just triumphs. Elena attended. Distant table. Toast exchanged. Sarah danced with me. Her laugh light. Future? Us. I spun her. Heart tripping. Maybe. Jack's clinked glasses later. You pulled it off. Rebirth boy. Costly, I admitted. Worth it. Dawn the next day. I stood on the state balcony. Michigan horizon infinite. No more ghosts. Elena, a chapter closed. Victor rotting in Supermax. Dad's shadow benevolent. The company answered to me. Not by theft, but trial. Revenge's aftertaste? Bitter. But the wine that follows?
Sweet.
I died own. Risen, vengeful. Lived, redeemed. American dream. Twisted but true. Hook's End. That morning after the will reading. Elena discovered the codicil's trap. Every asset. Every deal. Looped back to me. Her empire? Smoke. Mine? Solid. And as the sun crested, I smiled. Round 3? Nah. This life's mine.